Now that we know what qualified immunity is, let's take a closer look at a time when the court granted it. We can take a 2016 case as an example. This case is about the death of Marvin Rowell, who was arrested for public intoxication. Rowell was taken to jail, and while in the intake room, he was stumbling and pacing. Officers decided to move Rowell from the intake room to a restraint chair. As they escorted him, one of the officers applied forward pressure on his arm. Rowell fell into a wall and onto the ground, hitting his head in the process. He was pronounced dead shortly thereafter, and his head injuries were determined to be the cause of death. Mr. Rowell's estate sued one of the officers, Dakota West, for excessive force. Officer West invoked qualified immunity, so the court was presented with the questions. Was this use of force a constitutional violation? And were Mr. Rowell's rights clearly established? Ultimately, Officer West was granted qualified immunity because while excessive force would have been a violation of the Fourth Amendment, the court ruled that the forward pressure Officer West applied to Mr. Rowell's arm was not excessive, even though it resulted in his death. Officer West also argued that Mr. Rowell's rights were not clearly established because there were no cases with sufficiently similar facts. The court decided that Officer West's actions, which resulted in the death of someone in custody, were objectively reasonable. And because of qualified immunity, a civil trial, which could analyze those actions further, cannot take place. That's what qualified immunity is designed to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll see you there.